Today's Monday, July 16th. It's just about 6 o'clock. And I'm sure hope you guys are having a better day than I am. Sitting here really considering not publicizing the video that I just uploaded for today because of all that work that we did, but it's going to be kind of obvious when you see it that we did change something, so you're going to wonder what's up. But so we did all that work to this to put a pile of corn silage, and it's a last minute deal. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like nobody would really give me an answer a month ago or a month and a half ago of what was going on or what they were gonna do, or I was told, oh yeah, there might be some here, and nobody wanted to give me an answer because they wanted to get theirs first, obviously. And so because we've been out of the loop on getting silage, especially corn silage, for years now, because we've actually never gotten corn silage before. Nobody wants to kind of fill you in on their deal, right? Makes sense. I understand that. But so now it's like, oh, well, you came here the last minute, so we can't help you. And it's like, well, I've been trying to get something going for 2 months now, but nobody's even tried to help me. Everybody's kept me in the dark. So what's going on is we have 300 acres of corn silage that we can have the whole thing. Nobody else wants it. There's probably some people that want it. I shouldn't have said that. There is one guy that wants it. But we got first dibs on it, if you will. And we can have it. We can have it all. And I wanted to haul it here. Shot for the truck. I wanted to haul it here, but the guy chopping says he doesn't have enough trucks, and if he would have got a notice 2 months ago, he would have lined up enough trucks to haul it here. It is a 60-mile drive, or it's not 60 miles, 55 miles, whatever. And then they say, oh, well, you got a back road, a little county road to the dairy. People are going to be mad. Well, there's trucks that go up and down the county road all the time. So what's the difference? For 2 or 3 days. But, so as we sit right now, we haven't lost the corn silage, but it's gonna get piled at the farmer's place. All right. I kind of forgot where I got left off because I got some phone calls in there. But what I was saying was the guy that's chopping doesn't want to haul it this far because he's on a timeline, which I understand that. And that he needs to get the 300 acres chopped as fast as possible so he can move on to the next job. And then they got 7 trucks, and then 3 or 4 more trucks would make it possible. But so as of right now, it's going to get hauled to the farmer's place and just piled there on the ground. And wait, where's my hay fork? Oh, there it is. So it's gonna get piled to the farmer and then taken there, and then we could buy it out of the pile. But I'd rather have it here. That way we don't ever have to worry about a truck not starting, or it being too wet and them not being able to haul it, or for whatever reason. Which the farmers told me that he would almost guarantee that no matter what he would get it here. But still, you just don't want to have. The only way it'd be work is if we didn't have any money invested into it and he had it at his place and hauled it to us. But anyway, so that's what's going on. It's a real freaking nightmare, and it's a real pain in the ass, and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls back and forth, and anyway, just frustrated. But we're gonna let me put this fork on real quick. Alright, so right now I'm just getting ready to wrap some hay, and thought I would kind of fill you guys in on all that. And I'm going to go ahead and publish the video, which you've already probably watched it if you keep up with the channel. It was the one before this. And we're just going to look like a bunch of idiots that did a bunch of work for no freaking reason. But it is what it is, and it is what happens. So I guess that's the way it rolls. This morning we did get all the dozers ready, we got the 2 dozers ready. I got the 7800 unhooked off the manure spreader, got it all washed off, and greased up, blowed out, and then did the same thing to the 7400 because that's what we were going to pack with and push up the silage with. So unless something happens in the next, I don't know, they're moving to the cornfield in the morning or tomorrow. They said maybe tomorrow afternoon they'll start chopping. So unless I can pull a rabbit out of my ass in the next 16 hours, it looks like it's not going to be piled here. But in between now and then, we have to come up with a plan if we're going to buy it or not. Which may still just say, the deal the guy was offering wasn't the greatest out of the pile at his place, so may have to see if renegotiate that and make a better deal, just an all-around better deal where he fronts all the cost and we just buy it out of the pile. No way. Yeah, I don't know. That's a long story. This afternoon, Jason and Jeremy took off in the mowers. One mower got a little bit messed up and hit a manhole cover in the hayfield. Wes is working on that right now. It just sheared off the splines on top of the, I don't know what you call it, the bonnet or the turtle of the mower. It sheared off the splines in that. Me and him were working on that a while ago, and they were going to set the part off on the porch in Athens, and then so he's headed to get that right now. Jeremy left. Somehow Jeremy got back. He left in the 6410, and then we're about to jump in the big truck and head to the hayfield across town, and they're probably going to have 2 loads of hay baled, and then we'll get those wrapped. Alright, so we're back. So we're back here at the dairy now. We just got the 1 load. We got 1 more load to get. We're going to unload it really fast so that Jeremy can get back to get that load. Jason was just finishing up baling while we were leaving, and we left him out there, and he was gonna start lining some bales up to get hauled out of there. So in that amount of time, it was like about an hour, the farmer of the corn that we were talking about a while ago, he called me and said he found 8 to 10 trucks. So now we have more than enough trucks. So it looks like at 7:30 Wednesday morning, they will be hauling in here, and we'll be hauling corn silage, unless something else comes up, and then Jesus, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of, you don't own your own stuff, and you don't plant your own corn and all that, you can, you're just at everybody else's mercy. But make sure. So thanks to the farmer, he's the guy that planted the corn. He's the one that did the hustling and found them trucks, which he would have more contacts than I would on finding some trucks. So anyway, that's great news, and hopefully this all works out and there's no change of plans between now and basically in the next 24 hours. So, alright, we're finally wrapping. Got Jeremy unloaded. He's gone. He's been gone for 10-15 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes. I got the wrapper started, and now we're wrapping. Let's see. In 2000s, let's see. We wrapped some out here in 2018, and then 2017 we wrapped where we were. And I packed that thing full. I think had 2,700 bales or so up there in 2017, and then we moved out here, and then ended up putting like close to, I think it was 1,800 more bales out here, and we had all this full, all that full on the other side over by the driveway where we were. And then let's see. So 2018, we still had that pretty much full when we started baling, and then this was almost gone, or if not, it might have been all gone. If it wasn't, there was just a few bales up that way by the road, and then we started wrapping out here, and we only baled. Let's see, I could put like 120 bales in a line here, and we only did maybe 12 or 13 lines, something like that, and that was it. And that's all the bales that we could bale because of the drought that we had. And then so, let's see, we were kind of mixing the two lines, the stuff that was 2 years old and this stuff from 2018, all through the fall and winter, and then in the spring. We had what was left out here, and then that was it. So that's been gone for it's July, so that's been gone since about May 15th, and then we've been feeding this year's. So that's really the whole reason behind the corn silage, is just because of the drought last year, where we only baled like 40% of the bales that we are needing or that we're used to getting, and so we ended up having to feed through all our surplus. At one point, let's see, when was it? I think going into the spring of 2018, we had 12 months worth of baleage already baled, and then going into the fall, we still had only 12 months of baleage. Well, actually, no, that don't make no sense. We had 12 months going into the spring, and then going into the fall last year, we had about 6 months. So over the summer, we fed all. We didn't replenish anything. We were feeding more than we were baling, and there was nothing we could do about it. We had no grass. Everything was brown. It didn't rain for 3 months or so, or whatever. It hurt us on the clearing land. We couldn't burn the piles of brush. It was so dry, the dust. If you went out there and ran the dozer for a couple hours, you couldn't breathe for a week. So it just really hurt us all the way around, because the whole plan was that, if you've heard me say before, the new land, we should have already had it all cleared and had water troughs in it, and we were going to sprig it. And then we ended up not getting it done, not getting it cleared like we wanted, because it was too dry. And then, like a flip of a switch, in the fall last year, then it was too wet, and then it stayed too wet. And really, right now it might be getting dry enough where you could do something out there. And but now we got all this other stuff going on, so can't get out there and do that. So that's where we're sitting right now. July 16th, we're usually brown and almost dry, and I don't think I've ever seen it this dark green before. Everything, the trees, the neighbor's weeds on the other side of the fence, and then like this here, this is unless something's wrong with my sunglasses, this is like gorgeous looking. But back to the corn silage. That's the whole reason of the corn silage, is because even if we met our goal this year of baling 4,000 bales of baleage and 2,000 bales of dry hay, which the dry hay could do without. I'd rather have 6,000 bales of baleage, really. And then just because when you put out dry hay, you lose so much more. You lose like on them hay trailers, we usually put 4 round bales on them, and we lose like 25% every trailer load, just because the cows don't really enjoy eating it like they do baleage. If you put 4 bales of baleage on a trailer, you might lose 10%, and that's just because they smashed it into the ground. But you know, any dry hay that falls on the ground, the cows aren't going to eat it. They'll just lay in it. You just waste so much more with dry hay. But, and a lot of people have asked why we don't chop. And we chopped many years ago, about 3 or 4 years in a row when I was just a kid. I remember the piles. I never mixed up feed with them or nothing like that. I mean, it had to be like, you know, 5 to 8 years old. Probably not even 8 years old, really. The last pile that I remember, I remember my dad had me going around and dumping dirt on the edge of the plastic. So I mean, it was a long time ago. And then for whatever reason, we got away from doing it, and we just never went back to it again. I think mainly it was equipment. You know, then we just had just an open cab. It was an open cab case tractor with a bucket on it, which even though Wes could tie his shoes with the bucket, or tie somebody else's shoes with the bucket, it was just a mess to handle with that little tractor. And the rock that we're gonna put the corn silage on was put there, and then Wes thinks it was used 1 year for silage, and then we never did it again. And then we always just stacked hay there. And I mean, it's nice firm ground. It shouldn't have any problems. And then with this wheel loader, you know, we'll be able to manage the pile a lot better, and all that stuff. But getting back to the corn silage again, the main thing for it is because if we bale our goal, we'll be able to feed till next April, and then we'll be out. And then, so then we would have to start baling at the right time again, you know, kind of under the gun, under pressure. And hopefully everything goes perfect and smooth, and we have a good year. And then even if we hit our goal again, we're still in the same boat. We're not gaining anything. We're not getting that surplus back. So, I mean, you're talking, it would take 3 or 4 years of just perfect years for us to get back ahead again, where we start gaining a good surplus of hay. And then, but you know, also in the meantime, we're slowly gaining numbers, cow numbers. So with more cows, it's more feed, and more feed, you need more forage. So that's what we're thinking on this corn silage, is that we can do that, and you know, obviously it's going to be good feed, and it's priced reasonably, and all that. I mean, as long as nothing changes and they can get it here and they can get it piled. I mean, we could buy it out of the pile from the farmer and him haul it up here, but I mean, you just don't want to, you know, you just don't want to risk anything like that. Yeah, make sure I'm lining up. Yeah, pretty good. So that's the main thing with the corn silage. It's just to get us ahead, get us back into the safe zone, and where, you know, say next year's a good year, the year after that's another severe drought. I mean, what do we do? We couldn't do nothing. You can't afford, unless you just absolutely do no forage of your own, and you spent all that money that you do into your own land on buying forage from somebody else, but then at that point you're not getting it any cheaper, so you just be wasting money. Or maybe not wasting money, but you'd be padding somebody else's checkbook. Then one other thing is these, you know, on Tifton, if on ryegrass, if it is done perfectly, you know, you're looking 18 to 20% protein, which is awesome. but we have never had a year where it was perfect. No matter if we went for strictly volunteer or if we went for something that we planted. There was like 5 years in a row that right down the road there was 80 acres that we would plant ryegrass on, and there wasn't one of those years that it ended up perfect. There was one year it was a little short just because it was a dry winter. The next year it was a wet spring and we couldn't get to it, and before it dried out enough, and I mean we tried like hell to get it, before it dried up enough, it was already into June, into July, and that might have actually been the wettest year of all time. I think it was 2015. Before we could get to it, it all turned brown and was gone, and we ended up bush hogging it. So imagine that, all the money in the seed, the money in the fertilizer, and you just sit there and watch it turn brown, and you end up having to bush hog it down. So, which it kind of reseeded itself, and then the next year it just never could get a year that it was like, oh, that was perfect and awesome. Which, farmers, we don't ever really get a perfect year and a perfect time and all that. But my point is it's really hard to do that with ryegrass, and to get that quality protein. So then we have coastal. Coastal is like, if you can do it perfectly, it's just average. That's all it is. It's just average. There's nothing special about it at all. And then with the Tifton, the cows like to eat it more than they do coastal, and they actually probably like it more than they do ryegrass. Not grazing wise, because usually to have Tifton, it's going to be hot, so they'll graze ryegrass better. But as baleage, I think they actually like Tifton more. You do get more production and a higher butterfat off Tifton 85 than you do anything else that we've fed. So we used to buy in alfalfa, but that's just too much money. And then the guy that we were buying it from, the last few times we got it, it wasn't really alfalfa, it was more grass and leaves. So haven't done that in a few years. I think the perfect thing, perfect magic wand deal is you have a pile of corn silage, you have a pile of ryegrass, that's 20%, and then you have a pile of some 16% protein Tifton 85, maybe even 18% if you can get it. That'd be kind of hard, but if you can get it, and then everything else you just belt baleage. So like your third and fourth cutting, you just bale that for baleage, and dry hay. Do a couple hundred bales of dry hay for calves, and then everything else baleage wise would be for to put out for free choice, and then so you get less waste. And then on top of that, you got your corn silage and your ryegrass and your Tifton piles of chopped silage for your TMR. And I think with that, in our area, would be about as best as you can get it. So hopefully that's the direction that we're headed in. So that's the direction that we're trying to head. And with that, I mean, that's I have a goal, and we have a goal of milking 1,000 cows with a 60 cow rotary, and a 8-bay commodity barn and 2 feed lanes, and a big huge silage, or a big huge slab for for silage. So we need to start taking them steps in that direction to get there. And I think this is going to be the start of it. So, yeah, I got a few more bales of this. I have a few more bales of this trailer load to wrap, and then I'll have to probably sit here and wait a few minutes and wait for the next load to get here. I'll wrap that, and then we'll call it a day. And then tomorrow on Tuesday we'll probably be more than likely billing and hopefully getting a couple hundred bales. Finally a wrecker came and got that truck, so maybe by the time, because on Wednesday they're going to start chopping, so Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe Friday we'll be stacking and piling and putting covering the pile of corn silage. So maybe by then they'll have that truck ready to go, and then we can run 2 trucks and start knocking out our baleage. We still got 60, 100, 160, 260, about 320 acres to do this round. So we need to get on the ball and get it done. With that being said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. I know this video there's a lot of just yapping and not a lot of actual action of getting stuff done, but I wanted to try to explain what's going on, how it's happening, and you know what is all involved. You know, I mean, you watch some videos and there's a pile of corn silage there. Well, you know, I mean, I've been wanting to pull my hair out if I had any that I could pinch or grab hold of, and I've had a headache for the last 3 days, and it's been a real pain in the butt, but I thought I would explain it a little more. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.